Sydney. And for VMRD jamming, we just had Kings, and jamming for Sydney is Redacted. I love that name, actually. Rightio. Now, both these teams are on their second game of the day. And when you think that this is the third game of the day, that shows you how quick a turnaround that they've got. All right. So I'm just, while they're playing and while you're getting all settled, I'm going to go through the teams. Now, VMRD were wearing blue last time, but they are wearing white now. And we have a 007 Honey Collider, 0130 Bruiser, 06 Bambi, 117 Faster Chief, 12 Inconceivable, 23 Blues Bruise, 24 Chaos, 269 Other Sin, 357 The Antichrist, 4 Ponyboy, 401 Kings, 404 Fleabag, 51 Sin, 75 Just Incredible, and number 8 Lou. I apologise for that. I misjudged my distance there. All right, so we have VMRD on 14 points and Sydney Roller Derby on 3. Now, our Sydney Roller Derby friends, they are the black team. Playing for them today, we have 0 Beats, 10 Jim Peckable, 114 Rain Boom, 1312 Commando Roll, 186 Optimus Prime, 212 Chili, 217 Kimmy Kaboom, 316 Cannonball, 37 Swizzle, 39 Lord Biffington, 404 Redacted, 601 Anti, 626 Experiment, 65 Miffy, 77 Rebel Base, and 811 Roxy. And now we've just had that jam called, and we have VMRD on 22 points with Sydney Roller Derby on 3. Okay, and it appears that we have an official review about to occur. No, official timeout. I actually think it's a review rather than a timeout. So VMRD are exercising their right to have an official review. Rightio, with all that confusion, we now have the rolling whistle and we can recommence play. Lining up as the jammers for both of our teams, we have Bruiser and Beats, with Bruiser flying out and gaining lead. and like that it is jam has been called. Now, unfortunately, on my paperwork, I didn't have all the officials' names. So I'm going to give you a shout out, and if I don't now, I will get the names later and give the remainder a shout out. In the middle, we have Gary, Disaster Chief, Candy Striper, and Miss Cray Cray. And it is just a full block of skaters with Kings and Kimmy Kaboom jamming for their respective teams. We are in our fourth jam of this third game, and both these teams have already played one game each. So this is where endurance will be a big factor. Alrighty, and there was a star pass, however, the star pass got sent to the bin. So, anyway. So we're here down at the Darebin Community Sports Centre. We're here for the next 3 days. So the rest of today and tomorrow and Monday. And we are at, this tournament is called Otta. And you might wonder why Otta. Yes, they're cute animals, but no, it's an acronym. And it's an acronym for Open Tournament to All. This is a mixed and open gender tournament in which anyone who wishes to play can play, hence open to all. You will notice that a lot of teams have teams with slightly different jerseys from a different club. We have a lot of clubs that have guest skaters from their open and mixed genders teams. We also have some pickup teams, so in keeping with the open to all sentiment, we have a team called the Ottimistics. That's tricky to say, but they're made up of players from teams who may or may not have applied to play at the tournament or who wanted an extra hit out. We also have Team Triple Threat, which is made up of Rockabellas, Sun State Roller Derby, and I want to say Mildura for some reason. Yay, I got that right. I got the Triple Threat right. So, yep, so when you think Mildura and Queensland, that's a tough gig, but these guys are all playing together as one, and I am so glad to have some Sun State players here with us this weekend, because unfortunately, the last time they were due to come down, some toddler called Alfred had a bit of a teary tantrum and stopped them from coming. Rightio, and we're back on track, and Faster Chief has leapt out for lead. And I believe this is a power start because I believe the jammer is in the bin. And that will be Jim Peckable when they do get out on track. Alrighty, and with that, Faster Chief has called that jam off. We also have some debuting teams here today. We have playing on track 2. We have the brand new team, the Steam Rollers. And they are a new mixed open gender team from Dragon City who are in Bendigo. And the reason they have the name the Steamrollers is their Worcester team are the Chico Rollers. The juniors team are the Spring Rollers. So having the Steamrollers keeps them on a good roll. Now we're in official timeout, I believe. While we're doing that official time outy sort of stuff, I'd like to thank our primary sponsors for our event here today, being the Victorian Government and Big and Scott Real Estate. We would also like to thank the support of Deadly Sports Plus First Aid. They are the people who we love to have a chat with, and we are so glad that they're here. We just don't want to need them. But when we do, they're fantastic. Now, jamming for VMRD, we have Fleabags going up against Beats. And there was some amazing defense there, but Fleabag was able to push their way through and gain lead. And we have a current scoreline of VMRD on 42 points, Sydney Roller Derby 0. As our next lineup takes shape, I'd also like to thank the amazing Jen, who is sitting on the table next to me, for all the technology and wiring and internet stuff that allows us to be able to live stream 2 tracks simultaneously, both in and out of the venue. Now, jamming for our respective teams, we have Kings and Kimmy Kaboom, with Kings successfully obtaining lead. And we're here at the Darebin Community Sports Centre for the whole weekend. And so we'd like to thank them for allowing us to host this tournament here. And I'd also like to thank the Otta Organising Committee. This has been the first mixed and open gender tournament since, I believe, 2019. Because, yeah, we kind of had a couple of years that we don't talk about here in Melbourne. So aside from East Coast Clash, this is another opportunity for Open Mixed Gender Derby. We also have some wonderful vendors here today. We have Shani as Skating on Sacred Land. We have Peter from Spank Alley, ably assisted by Past Spanky. We have Brett from Crossroad Media doing some wonderful photography. We have Lou's factory and doing some repairs and selling wheels, etc. So, plenty of things to buy and see, and Team Indigenous Dreaming, I do believe, have a raffle. There is a raffle out the front. And lining up. All right, so we have Faster Chief, who has sprung out for lead. And Sydney's jammer will be Cannonball. I'd also like to thank all of our friends and our families who support us in this sport. It takes a lot of commitment. We have skaters from all the way from Western Australia to Queensland, New South Wales, South Australia and Victoria. So coming to travel all this way to have a really good hit out, we thank them so much, because without the teams we don't have a tournament. Also without our officials we don't have a tournament, and especially without our organising committee headed by the wonderful Cheeky and Chops. Not Chops, sorry, Cheeky and Exy, who are our chief official wranglers. We would not have a tournament, and I would like to extend a thank you to all of them. Now, Bruiser is jamming and taking the lead for VMRD. Now, the Sydney Roller Derby jammer is Beats, which is kind of apt when you think you kind of got to beat your way through 4 other people. All right, and at that stage they had just done a star pass. We are almost halfway through this first game of our second half. We also have Cheeky out as one of our officials, and if you live north of Melbourne and you're looking at a team, she is one of the founding members of the Goulburn Peaches based out of Shepparton. They are a newly formed team and we welcome them to the Derbyverse. Now, our jammers are Redacted and Kings. So everyone is bunched up very tightly around turn 1. However, alright, so Kings has been recycled to the back of the pack. Both pods working extremely defensively. Because when you're holding these players still, when you consider everybody has 8 wheels under them, and sometimes they can keep someone at a standstill, you know the strength involved. Rightio. So who do we have jamming this time? Oh, we have Beats and Faster Chief. With Faster Chief storming through to obtain lead. And Beats has alrighty. So we have Beats back on track. And a bit of ballroom dancing on the side never hurt anyone. Our scoreline currently has VMRD on 102 points versus Sydney Roller Derby on 8. We are just under third. We have just over 12 minutes left of this first half. And we have Fleabag and Kitty Kaboom jamming for their respective teams. And Fleabag has gotten through to be awarded lead. Rightio. So down on turn 4 there is a pack of both team players. So I'm just watching. Oh, pardon me, I had a yawn then. That was really... Okay. All right. And we have had a star pass to, let me see, Jim Packable. However, Jim Packable was crushed by the whistle. Yes, you can see I've been commentating all morning. I'm getting a bit crazy. Rightio, so we're wearing the star for... Okay, so we have a team timeout for Sydney, so we won't be a moment. And while we're in a team... Alrighty, so we have a little over 10 minutes left of this, our first half of our third game. After this, there will be one more game today on this track, and that will actually be one of my favourite teams, which will be the Gender Ending Story. And they will be playing Perth Mixed Roller Derby. And it is good for a Perth team to have a late game because it's actually at a reasonable time for their loved ones at home. I think one East Coast clash, they had the 9 a.m. game. All right, now, who do we have jamming? We have Beats and we have Kings jamming for their respective teams. Trying, it is just who can get through. All right, so Kings has been given lead, but is being closely followed by Beats, and as such has called the jam. Yes, it's wonderful to have our players over here from Perth, and it's great that we've been able to give their game times, reasonable times for those of you at home who are going to be watching them, cheering them and supporting them. All right, we are Starting another jam, and we have a Bruiser and a Redacted taking the stars for this particular jam. Okay. And we have just over 9 minutes left in this, our first half. As I've said with each of the other 2 games that I've called this morning, it's pretty cold in here at the moment. And so if you've been sitting, watching, officiating, or not moving, I really suggest you take advantage of those 15 minutes just to go out. There's actually sunshine outside. So go out, try and get a bit of light, get a warm hot drink or some hot food from the cafe on site here and get warm. Now, our current scoreline has Sydney Roller Derby on 8 with VMRD on 134. Right. So, who do we have? I am assuming we have Fleabag. Yes, Fleabag and Beats are jamming this particular jam. And Fleabag has weaved their way through to okay. Now, some of you watching from home may say, but they're not scoring points. Why are they saying we don't want to continue this jam? Sometimes the tactic is not to get points, but to prevent the other team from getting points. So we're kind of looking at a cross between rugby and chess when it comes to derby. And that is on 8 wheels. So we have Kings jamming for VMRD. And we have Kimmy Kaboom for Sydney Roller Derby. All right. Now, I've just got to check my notes here because I do check them every now and then. And over this weekend, we are going to have officials meeting milestones. We're going to have one of our on-skates refs getting a 200. We are also getting a 50th, and there may be more. Depends on how many games they get called up to do, because as yet, we haven't rostered officials for some of the later games, because many of our officials here are also team players. So they not only play multiple games, they also ref multiple games. Now, there's a tight pack of both teams just around past turn 2. And we have some interesting things happening in Derbyland, or the Derbyverse as I like to call it, in the July school holidays, which is not that far away. Brisbane, and the jam has ended. But as I was saying, Brisbane will be playing host to the Junior Roller Derby World Championships, which is an amazing chance for our up and coming skaters to skate in front of a home team. So if you're up there on holidays, check them out. All right, so we have We have Chile jamming for Sydney. And I believe it will be, yes it will, it'll be Kings, with most of the action happening down around turn 3. But as I was saying, in July we will be hosting the Junior Roller Derby World Championships. So if your family's going up there for holidays, look them up, go and cheer, create a cheer squad. The louder we can be, it's just going to be amazing. And quite often, more often than not, our junior teams have to travel overseas. So they don't get a big home crowd, so let's do what we can. We also have skaters and officials here today who, at the end of the month, are going to Austria for the World Championships. And then we also have players going to South Korea later in the year for Southeastern Championships. So in this building today, we have some of the best skaters in the country. Pretty exciting. We have Kings wearing the Jammer helmet, and we have had a Star Pass to Cannonbill from Sydney Roller Derby. And our scoreline is extended out to 162 for VMRD. And Sydney Roller Derby on 8. We've got just under 3 minutes left, or just over 2 minutes, depending on how you look at it, of this first half. Rightio. So we have Beats and Faster Chief donning the stars for this particular jam, and Beats wove a way through to successfully gain lead. Now, lead is a term that in Derby is pretty powerful. It actually means that unless you get sent to the penalty box, you have control of how this scrim will go. And as seen just then, Beats was able to call off the jam to prevent another team from scoring. Again, the tactics. I know when you watch this game for the first couple of times that you think, how am I ever going to understand it? And then it all clicks. Trust me. And by Monday afternoon, it will have clicked, because that is how long we are here. All right, so we have a Redacted up against Bruiser as our jammers or offensive players, and they are trying to get through a pack of 4 other people called blockers. Now, Bruiser was able to successfully gain lead, which has given them control for a bit. And it's also that capacity to call off a jam early if required, which is indeed what has happened. Now, fairly shortly we will have our intermission, not just yet. And as I said, if you remember that the canteen at the top here does have hot food, does have hot drinks. Also has cold if you're slightly crazy like me and like to have a hot drink and a cold drink at the same time. Jamming this jam is Fleabag and Kimmy Kaboom, and this will actually be the last jam of this first half, with our scoreline currently sitting on 167 to Sydney 12. Okay, so Cannonball has gone through, but yes, there's been a star pass, which means that lead has changed. Time intermission has been called, and I will see you back in 15 minutes.
Just get back, 아무렇지 않게 baby. Oh, I don't wanna lose you, but 사실은 난 무서워.
Hit the scene and it's all green. On go, we ain't never doing small things. Being fitted for the crown, cause we all kings. If you know you got to shine, let them people know it's time for the show. Hit the scene and it's all green. On go, we ain't never doing small things. Being fitted for the crown, cause we all kings. If you know you got to shine, let them people know it's time for the show. Built to thrive, ain't just here for the ride. Don't know how I caught this stride, but since then it been live, I'm up early. Cause I ain't missing the shot when I'm worthy. I've been chasing rings, they only want in the jersey. Yeah, slim thin after the Benjamin versus unlimited. Blood in this ink, I've been hemorrhaging. Take me to imaging. No, they can't match with their energy. That's why I'm finna be taking the game to new levels. Just peep how I'm sending it. I put the music up first and competition come last. Repetitions beat them beyond recognition. We are eons ahead. Wait till the price catch up. I always knew I'd win. It's how my life set up. Slim don't fold. Probably bumping some old in the whip. Game sold from the people much older out here. Keep patience and your calling will reach you. But you probably prolong it if nobody can't teach you. But back to this greatness unfolding. I don't see nobody outpacing. I'm focused. Mental in shape and I ain't shaking this motion. This can make a movie on screen. When I step out there, scene with me go. Hit the scene and it's all green. On go, we ain't never doing small things. Being fitted for the crown, cause we all kings. If you know you got to shine, let them people know it's time for the show. Hit the scene and it's all green. On go, we ain't never doing small things. Being fitted for the crown, cause we all kings. If you know you got to shine, let them people know it's time for the show.
welcome back to the second half of this game 3. Day 1 on track 1 of Otta, open tournament to all. You are watching a game between Sydney Roller Derby and Victoria's Men's Roller Derby, the Valkyries or VMRD. We have a current scoreline of VMRD on 176 and we have Sydney Roller Derby on 14. And not only do we have this game that I'm watching, we are also running 2 tracks and streaming 2 tracks all weekend. And currently on the other track, we have Kingston City Rollers playing Varsity. So now, jamming for this particular jam, we have, oh, that was just the most beautiful pirouette there. We get that, that was Chile. And we also have, a Bruiser. A few Matrix-ish, that's the word I was looking for, Matrix-ish moves happening to allow us to stay on the track. Okay, and with that our jam has been called. And after this game, there is still one more game on this track today, and that will be the gender-ending story going up against Perth Mixed Roller Derby. So we have, whoa, okay. Nice attempt at an apex jump by Beats. And we have Fleabag jamming for VMRD. We also have some amazing vendors here today. Some just for one day, some will be here for all 3 days. And we thank them for coming along and giving us lots of pretty things to buy. Now, jamming for VMRD, we have Kings, and for Sydney, it is redacted. So all scores from this jam will be redacted from the paperwork. It doesn't work that way, sadly, but okay. And Kings successfully has lead, while the rest of the pack is down around turn 3. This tournament being open to all, or as we call it, ORDA, is a great hit out for so many players that don't get a chance to play. All right, that's better. I may be getting low on the battery, so if I fade out again, you'll know why. Yeah, I think that's what my Alrighty. Found out my problem. Flat batteries. Please, it is not midnight in a car park trying to get home. So, jamming for Sydney, we have the wonderful 212, who is Chile, up against 117 Faster Chief, who has just called the jam. Rightio, and I'm back. All right. The current score update is VMRD on 0198 and Sydney City Roller Derby on 24. And we've just had our 5 seconds called. Team time out for Black, which is Sydney. Alrighty, and we're back again after a quick team timeout. And we have a little over 20 minutes left in this final half. And we have a jamming for Sydney. We have, let me see. We have a Redacted, and Redacted is chasing Kings for lead. As I've mentioned before, we have some of the most talented skaters in our country here over this tournament. We have skaters, officials, bench teams that are going to World Championships at the end of the month. We also have players, etc., going to the Southeast Asian finals in South Korea later in the year. And as a country, we are hosting in Brisbane the Junior World Roller Derby titles. So if you're on school holidays and you're up near Queensland, look them up and go and give them a really good home crowd advantage. something our junior skaters don't often get a lot of because a lot of those big tournaments are overseas. Rightio. So we have had our jam called with a scoreline VMRD on 206 and Sydney Roller Derby on 24. Rightio. So jamming, we have Chili and Bruiser, with the Bruiser successfully gaining lead. Now coming up next on track 2, for those who are following the games over the weekend and jumping between tracks to support friends, family, we will have a brand new, we've got one brand new regular team, which will be the Steamrollers from Dragon City. That is their new open and mixed gender permanent team. We'll also have a team called the Triple Threat, and that is made up of skaters from Rockabellas, Sun State and Mildura Roller Derby League. So that will be an exciting game, as will be the game on this track straight after. Okay, so we have Kings and Beats donning the star, and we've had a jammer be naughty and go to the bin. So oh no, I thought, no, it wasn't. It was a recycle. Rightio. And if you're thinking, well, you know, you're telling me what my team's doing today, but what about tomorrow? If you look up OTTA Otta Roller Derby Tournament, you will be able to find the schedule for the whole weekend. Some games we don't know what teams are where because, like the footy, it comes down to a win-loss and point ratio. But tomorrow morning is fairly set. Faster Chief has jumped out for lead, while Redacted is working hard to exit the pack, which they have successfully done. We are extremely grateful to our major sponsors, being Big and Scott Real Estate, along with the Victorian State Government. We also are thankful for Darebin Community Sporting Centre for allowing us to host our major tournament here. We've basically taken over the building for 3 days and probably 4 hours of last night. And along with that, I'd like to shout out to Deadly Sports Plus First Aid, who are with us at every Derby event. They do an incredible, amazing job. And if you are looking at getting a first aid kit, perhaps you need to stock up your first aid kit, or you need to do or refresh your first aid courses for work, give them a call, because that's what they do. They do training, they do first aid kits, everything. And we have the rolling whistle, and we have, it looks like Chili and Bruiser from memory. at that. I was right. I'm getting clever towards the end of my day. All right. Bruiser has successfully obtained lead. And we have a little over 15 minutes left. So we're kind of at the halfway mark of this last half. So we are going to be here all day tomorrow from 9 a.m. through to about 6 p.m. And then we will be here from 9 a.m. on Monday through to, I think, about 4 o'clock. I'm not sure what time that game will end. So there's still plenty of derby to come, plenty of time to say, hey, I really enjoyed watching that at home on my screen today. I want to go and see it for real. Alrighty. So we have a jammer being recycled to the back of the pack. And both defensive packs are doing incredible jobs. Alrighty. Alright. Alright. Oh, some great teamwork there, though, from Sydney. Alrighty, so we are now past the halfway mark of this final half. And we will have beats for Sydney, and it looks like Kings for VMRD. One thing about doing this commentary gig is that you get the best seat in the house, but you also get to know the players' numbers really well, especially the ones you see quite often. So down on turn 2, there's a big collection of both teams' players. Okay. And Kings has lead. All right, so what is our current scoreline? Our current scoreline is VMRD on 238, men's roller derby on 228. Okay, and at the end of that jam, all right, now have jamming this one? We have Faster Chief and Redacted. And after a few bumps towards the ground, Faster Chief has successfully obtained lead and an apex jump for me. I just love watching apex jumps, especially when they're done well. All right, so we have most players coming down to turn 2. Alrighty-o, so some amazing, sometimes we put a lot of emphasis on the scores and the score and the offensive play. However, the defensive play of both these teams has also been incredibly amazing to watch. Okay, so we now have under 10 minutes left to go of this first half. As a sport, we don't have time on as such. However, if a jam starts prior to the end of our time frame, we will play that one out. Rightio. So we have Fleabag and we have Chili. And Fleabag shot out of the pack and obtained lead. Okay. And so while we're having some time out, what can we expect over the weekend? Well, tomorrow will still be some more pool games. Now, the game that you're watching now at the moment is a Division 1 game. Now, Division 1 only has 4 teams, so essentially each team will play the other once, so 3 games. Then the 2 highest ranking teams will go through to the grand final, and the other 2 remaining teams will play off for 3rd place. With our Division 2, however, they have a lot more teams, so they will still have some pool games happening tomorrow, and then later in the afternoon we'll start going through qualifying to semi-finals, and eventually it'll all come out in the wash tomorrow on Monday, when they will have their playoff for 3rd and their grand final. We may also have different vendors here depending on the day. Tomorrow we're very privileged to have a very valued member of the Derby community coming to be with us, and that is the wonderful Hawkeye from Hawkeye Media. Hawkeye is working on a task at the moment, a pretty darn good one if you ask me, about the faces of roller derby. So if you don't mind getting your photo taken, go, smile. Give him more photos so that it'll be not just a coffee book table, but a coffee book table and a dining room table. Now we have Kings jamming for VMRD, and we have Beats for Sydney Roller Derby, and we have some very good Matrix impressions going on. And we just over 7 minutes left to play, which is good because our teams are starting to come down for the next game, and we can give them a shout out, a hello, and a good luck, and all those fun, friendly things. Our scoreline currently has Victoria's Men's Roller Derby on 264 and Sydney Roller Derby on 32. And that is the end of this particular jam. And we are just a smidgen over 7 minutes left of this second half. Coming up next on this track is Gender Ending Story. And we also have a Perth Mixed Roller Derby, who have made that big trek across that long bit of road to come and be with us today, having done that long bit of road both ways in a bus. It's hard. They didn't fly us. All right, so we are in a team timeout at the moment. Now, here I was, my stomach's rumbling, thinking, I'm hungry. It must be getting near dinner time. It's only 3:20. Okay. So, rightio. We have jamming. We have flea bags. And I believe Beats is still in the box. So, coming up next on our other track will be the Triple Threat, Team Triple Threat, which is a combined team of Sunstate Roller Derby, Rockabellas, and Mildura Roller Derby. And they will be playing against the Steamrollers, who are in their, this will be their debut team as a permanent open mixed gender team out of Dragon City Roller Derby, sorry. Their Woofter aligned team is the Chico Rollers. Their junior team, Spring Rollers. Therefore, Steamrollers just kept the team names well and truly on a roll. And yes, I know that's a really bad joke. All right. So, we have Beats back out on track. We have Fleabags. And Fleabags has called the jam, and we are a smidge over 5 minutes left. Oh, we're getting the shimmy shakes happening. We're getting the ballroom dancing. We've been having the toe-stop pirouettes. This game's had it all. I love it. Rightio. Now, we have a Redacted up against Fleabag. And there it is just a pack of impenetrable packs at the moment. I know that doesn't make sense, but it made sense in my head. That's what counts. Rightio. So, both defensive packs are doing such an amazing job, because when you think that these people are not moving and they all have wheels on their feet, it just shows how deeply planted their feet are. Sydney have lead on this particular jam. All right, so we have 3 minutes and 30 seconds left of this second half. Plenty of time for, multiple jams. And then after this, I will be leaving you for the day. This is the third game that I've taken our viewers through at home today. So I'm going to go and get some food. Now, Faster Chief is jamming and has successfully obtained lead. And they are going up against Kimmy Kaboom. And we have a pack of pretty much every skater right down here on turn 1. Though now things are starting to move a little. All right, I'm just watching the action there down on turn 3 to see what's going on. There's a lot of defensive work. And the jam has been called. Rightio. It'll be good. All right. So we are down to the last minute and a bit of this game. We have a scoreline of Victoria Men's Roller Derby 302, Sydney Roller Derby 336. 36. I was just going to give them a bonus 300 points. How generous am I? All right. And the jam was called, so we're going to another jam. So we will have a Redacted and Fleabags taking us through this jam for the pretty much last lot of points. And that was incredible. I've got no words to describe that. And Fleabag successfully obtained lead, and there's some matrix-like skating. And this will be our final jam of the game, as time has concluded. So we will see this jam out, and then we will have one of two things happen, or the first of two things happen: the unofficial first score and then the final score. And with that, this game is concluded with an interim score of VMRD on 312, Sydney Roller Derby on 38. And once all the officials have done the officialing and dotting the I's, crossing the T's, hopefully that will become the official score. My name's Sparks. It's been a pleasure taking you through these first 3 games today. Enjoy the next game, and I'll be back taking you through games tomorrow. And we now have our official final score.